so this is our approach. It's quite a busy slide, but I'll take you through it. But I think this is a well-worn path on how to get into the most mature and almost complex areas, which generates the greatest savings and hopefully provides the best customer service. So we got four areas, and I'll take you through each of those in a little bit more detail in a second. But at a very high level, you've got to get the foundations right. So we find lots of customers, lots of people that do have these separate technologies, and they might have some legacy technology as well. You got to fix that first. There's no point sort of trying to jump ahead and implementing the latest technology on foundations that just aren't there. So that's the first area. The second area is once you've done that, we're then into the sort of groundwork for growth, which is okay. We've kind of got the data in the right shape. We've got areas, so let's start building on that. And then we really find that you can then start building intelligence and automation into the contact center. And then once you've done that as well, if you can do all those three steps, then I think you really are into the very later stages of being able to provide the best technology and the best processes and what we call the art of the possible. So that's full automation, AI-driven experiences, and it is possible. So that's the kind of journey that we go on. We get a little bit nervous if someone says, "Oh, we want to do full automation and data." Some of the questions we'll ask first is, "Well, where is your data at the moment?" "Oh, well, it's in pocket A, it's in silo A, B, and C." It's like, well, I've got to fix that first. So why don't I just take you through that in a little bit more detail? So this is what we are finding. We're finding that there are those disparate legacy systems and basic reporting, and that provides the limited customer insights, sort of high dependency on agents, so probably quite a lot of stress on them, and then minimal integrations. So that's where we would say, okay, how can we get you onto this platform, which is where we would take you into Amazon Connect. So we'd then sort of start to streamline the infrastructure and then hopefully reduce costs, because we've seen that in the business cases. There's one of the things about Amazon that you may or may not know is it's sort of pay as you use on the Amazon Connect side. So certainly for organizations that need to ramp up and ramp down their agents, whether it's a busy period or not, then there's a really good you don't have to pay licenses. So we haven't yet come across a business case that hasn't worked on Amazon, moving from the sort of legacy side into the new areas. But once you get that done, then you're starting to get into a really good shape. So what happens then is that you migrate onto the cloud, into say Amazon Connect, and then you really are starting to see the scale. So you don't have to worry about as I say, licenses. You don't really have to worry about, oh, we're going to have a surge. You've got one of the greatest, one of the biggest platforms available that you can easily scale up. And it is a very open platform as well. So it's all API driven. We've got engineers within our team that, engineer APIs between Workday and other HR platforms, and then other communication platforms as well. So start knitting together. Because again, if someone came along and said, well, we use a system for workforce management and a system for chat and a system for voice, and we're going to change all that in one go and give it a go, that's just not, it's often doesn't fly. So let's get onto the cloud, and then let's start bringing things in. So you're not quite there yet, but we've got a platform. So the opportunity is we can start to integrate systems with real time, and that's where we were talking about the data lake before. We're then starting to bring the data into there, and that's where you move to the third, where we are really getting into that kind of intelligent, automated contact center. So we've got the data, we know what's going on, we know how many calls are coming in, we know the sentiment. We're getting some really interesting, facts that we can then start to assess and start to say, okay, you currently have 1,000 calls going through a particular queue. and half of those calls are actually about one particular subject. So could we look to automate those particular calls? So rather than try and get everything going at the same time, we even on the when you get to this stage, we then still sort of differentiate and look at particular areas of, okay, what is high value and relatively easy to implement, and we'll start with those. So can we start to reduce agent involvement in those routine tasks, which will then generate those kind of greater customer satisfaction. And then, of course, you can then use the time to hopefully, invest in agent upskilling. Because again, what we definitely don't, I certainly don't ever argue is, oh, everything can be automated. I just don't think that's realistic. I think what you can do is you can create a customer experience that says, yes, for 5 out of 10 interactions, they can be automated. But if someone really wants to talk to a human, then they should have that option, and it should go relatively quickly and easily into that. But then you shouldn't lose that interaction within your overall data. It should say, yes, customer interaction number 6, that's a voice call, and then we'll go. So that's kind of where we go there. And then just finally, and I do think this is possible, you can then start getting to this kind of fully automated state where you're using all the services, you're using voice with Lex, different types of voices, different types of characters, and you're starting to get that real-time information, and you're then starting to service a significant number of interactions that are available. So that's kind of our model, and we're seeing that in our customers at the moment. So that's kind of where we're going at the moment. So that's the maturity model.